woman. It isn't the second conversation ever between a man and a woman, although it might feel like that because of the subject that we're going to discuss today. So I'll let L Rae introduce the subject, or where the starting point, shall we call it?
We were discussing earlier this morning about an email that Andrew received from one of his Facebook friends asking for advice. You want to read that email again?
I suppose it's a bit personal, so I don't want to reveal anybody's name or anything like that. But I can read some of the content of what was being said to me, because that will get us back on track to where we were talking earlier. So let me find the okay. So we go to see full conversation, and there we are. Because I made some answers of my own in the conversation, and I didn't tell you, Rae, what it was that I'd said. I just wanted to find out what you would have said, and that's where our conversation started earlier today. So here we go. I met a man very, very shy in private life, not in his work. I won't say what his work is, but the problem is he's unable to envisage a long relationship because of the projects that he's involved in. For him, our relationship is based on sex. There's an assumption there we talked about earlier, but this is what's being said to me. Our relationship is based on sex, but I'm in love. He doesn't want to go out together. He's afraid of people he's known, and every time people see him with a woman, people talk about him. And I understand, but I hope to make him fall in love too, spending time with him so he could appreciate me for something else other than my body. I think that's the implication of what's being said. I know he likes my culture too, but it seems he's putting a block on going any further. I don't know why I fell in love. His shyness, so touching. I'd love to cook for him, go for a walk to the theatre or a movie, but for now, no way. So I think that's really the basis of it. So as I say, I did put a few of my own comments within the conversation, but I was interested to know what you have to say about this.
Which part? The part that
it's a kind of from a woman's point of view, or really from the opposite side of this. If someone, how do we fall in love? That's a good question for a start off. And why is it possible to fall in love with someone that is obviously not as committed to our relationships as we are? And it could work both ways. I think in the earlier conversation that we were having, you were saying that you identify with some of what is being said about this guy because of the kind of work that you do and the public persona that you have, and so on. So that's where we were talking about it this morning, and maybe you can remember some of that and bring it to the live broadcast here.
You know, it's so easy to take the woman's side of it, the woman's side of it, and say, oh, he just wants you for a booty call. But to take the human side of it, I would have to say, did you ask him if this relationship is based on sex only? And I'm sure prior to them meeting to have sex, intercourse, intimacy, whatever you want to call it, that they've had discussions. Because for a woman to fall in love with a man, we fall in love because of the intellectual of a man. unlike the stereotype, um,
Careful now.
we don't fall in love with a man because of how he looks, and we don't fall in love with him no matter how much money he has. I mean, if you're talking about deep emotions, we fall in love with the man because of his mind. And that is one of our gamut, for lack of a better word, about being a woman. We fall in love with a man based on his mind and the intimacy of words that's exchanged between us. And so I'm sure that they've had a lot of conversations about this, whether it's on the phone or online or chat prior to them meeting. And that's why she came to this conclusion. She didn't come to this conclusion because she's having an orgasm with him when they meet up. She came to this conclusion because of the conversation, the dialogue they have prior to meeting up. Now, we were saying earlier, if they've had this conversation, that they might have had this conversation about just getting to know each other, and he mentioned that the reason why he doesn't have a girlfriend is because of the type of work that he does, and that the reason why he's not seen in public is because the type of work that he does. That conversation might have been exchanged with her during the getting to know you part, right? Unless she asks specifically, and depending how long they've been intimate, but unless she asks specifically if this relationship or this this intimate relationship they have together is based solely on a sexual and intimate boundaries or exchange, she's really just assuming, don't you think, Andrew?
It seems to me that there may be a misunderstanding simply because there is an unwillingness to ask the question that you were saying earlier. Is this just about the intimacy as far as you're concerned? It's a physical thing, and there is possibly an assumption that this is what the relationship is about.